I think it's time to talk about what happened to karate combat, not during this weekend. I think it was just a cherry on top. But in recent years, and you might call me biased because once I was the president of this organization and I'm not anymore. So take everything with a grain of salt. At the same time, it hurts to see what this whole thing became. And just recently this weekend, there was 2 brawls because basically the promotion bullied the Brazilian fighters, the Pitbull brothers, into a situation where they got into their heads and they just acted out as normal fighters act out, or not act out but behave, which led into a brawl at the face-off. Complete lack of professionalism from the promotion. There was no security. And let's not talk about this is dangerous to the fighters, dangerous to the public, because you do it on South Beach, on the streets. That happened, and then next day it escalated to something more where the Pitbull brothers were sitting at a table at the hotel, and then some of the team of the organizers, basically the promoters, right? The Go Chat team went on and like water pistoled, or whatever you call it, Pitbull brothers and their wives while they were having breakfast, and obviously just bullying them into the whole situation. And then they got up and then to take care of business, and it ended up being a bunch of them suspended. The main event lost, or they lost the main event for this show. And then things went on. You had this WingSe guy who already fought for them once. Nobody would really touch this guy, to be honest, because something is interesting up there. But they used him as their talent, as he was interviewing fighters, asking them stupid questions. It's such a disrespect to the fighters. It's unbelievable. And then on the show, he just jumped in as a blind man and just interrupted the whole event, and which then led into an altercation at the hotel when the fighters who was fighting at that bout smacked him for obvious reason. And then also another thing which happened, which is again like, it's a pattern. It's not just in the first time, but like had the former PFL female champion fight a 0-0 record late amateur 1-1 and viciously elbowing her. It's crazy why they put a fight together like this. It's crazy from the promotion to put it. That's crazy from the team to accept it. I heard the only reason they accepted it because that was their only way in to fight here, because they said like, eat or leave it, otherwise you're never gonna fight for karate combat. So they took the fight. We knew how it ended, right? Like, would you approve a fight like this? We used to put on fights. We had to be really careful that we are not doing mismatches when like person is like much different in terms of record than the other one. Now it doesn't seem to be a problem. I could go on and on, kind of antics the promotion is doing. And again, this is not just this show, like single show they try to do more viral stuff, and you've been part of this a little bit. For 6.5 years I worked with the founders, and they always wanted this viral shit which gonna go viral, and it's basically the business model. But I always try to keep it balanced out, and always fought them. Show when like they brought in influencers and they wanted to use the fighters to create content last minute. We got like main event almost injured the day before because he had to do like crazy stunt. Very disrespectful to the fighters. And once they wanted the fighters like weeks before the show to sit down in a restaurant, get them drunk so that they gonna talk crazy shit, and then that's gonna be such a good content. And obviously the fighters did it behind my back, because I was obviously not aligned with that. This is kind of mindset they do all the time. And again, this is on top of these people not paying vendors, having dozens of lawsuits against them. I don't know what to say, but like, the reason I'm talking about this, because it's very sad to see. It's I don't know how to compare it, but it's like you put in the work and effort, and like had a vision back then. And I think people, if they can recall kind of shows we've done with the VFX during COVID, and then the shows in Orlando, and then some in Miami. Completely different, not just the production value, but I think the values of combat sports were represented here. The reason why it was karate combat, because we had all these karate fighters there, and then we started to have some of the kickboxers as well, because we didn't want to just limit everything to karate, but like wanted to be the premier striking league out there. Right now you're nothing else than an MMA organization without the grappling part, really. All of these guys you see fighting are either from a Go-Chat gym or MMA guys who are like journeyman, because you see them fight over here, but next week they fight at another promotion. These guys are not exclusively signed, except some of president's own guys who he pays really nicely to make sure that like also gets a cut from that, which is again like huge conflict of interest. And one of the reason I was out and was replaced by these guys, because I said like I don't want to be part of something where somebody like him comes in and then gets access to everything what we do, because I think it's a huge conflict of interest. But the founder, my former partners, thought that this was not a problem, but now we can see it is a problem. Also, not to mention that he pays his guys, like main event guy this last weekend, 10x than everybody else, right? He's basic paying, based on my informations, I don't have his contract in my hand, but based on what I heard, he's paying this guy 20 times more than what we paid him when he was and not because like wanted to pay fighter not enough, but like guy had no record before karate combat. He was basically, his first fight was with us, and he still got paid like minimum $5,000 show money back then, right, as a newbie. And then he, he's paid 20 times more, which is, I think, ridiculous. Not that, it's good if when fighters are getting paid, but it's not good when all the vendors and everybody else, former partners, are not getting paid and being. Also about the whole situation with the Brawl, in 6.5 years while I was president of this organization, we only had one Brawl, right? And this was magically the same guy, right? So in Orlando, Pakistani fighter was fighting the French guys, and they bullied them at the entire fight week, right? And then on the fight, you think it was very close, but turns out that Pakistani fighter won, and then all hell break loose, because even within the fight, this president, who is the president now, was bullying the fighters and shouting at them. And then obviously there's a ceiling to that, and these guys popped as well. And then we had a huge issue, and chairs were thrown, but also their team were shouting stupid shit for them. And then again, they said like it was the French team who was out of control and it was their fault. It's the same what they do now with the Pitbull brothers. So it is a pattern. It's just like, it is bullying. I think it needs to stop in some way, because like a disrespect and embarrassment to the sport, not just this league. The league is not the league what I've been part of. Of the guys who used to work there are not there anymore, and then they brought in new guys because of the new management, and those guys are not there again because they were never paid. So a bunch of social media that like I never got paid, blah, and these were like closest people to the new regime or management. So it paints the picture of how things go over there. I don't know, whatever. Like, just wanted to put this video on because it is sad to see that such a promising promotion goes down the toilet, or like just like nothing else, but the whole product is about creating viral moments. It's very similar to what you see with some of these idiot streamers, where they're so shameless they would do anything humanly possible just to make headlines or just to be clipped. And they did succeed with this, because you've got the Brawl online, you've got WingSe jumping in the pit, you've got Mismatch online. So like all of those things are online, but I feel like it's for the wrong reason, because we're not talking about how great the fights were. We're not talking about a promotion which is now challenging the big guys. But we're talking about all the antics and all the crazy stuff these guys are pulling off every single show, because like you gotta up the last one, because otherwise this is not crazy enough. So again, it's sad to say, it is what it is. Hope that they will pay the people who worked hard for their success, and you know, like the market will decide if this is something which should stay or this is okay. They keep up with these antics with the brawls and also being super unprofessional with security and everything else, then somebody will get hurt, and not just cut here, but like more seriously. So that's it.